The night was dark, but inside the luxurious bedroom, passion had taken over. The wealthy retired rock star Johnny Boz lay on his bed, his body tangled with a blonde woman. Their movements were wild, intense, driven by desire. He gripped her waist, his breath heavy, lost in the moment. But as the pleasure reached its peak, something changed. The woman, her face shadowed by the dim light, reached for an ice pick hidden nearby. In a flash, she raised it high and brought it down with brutal force. A sharp scream echoed through the room. Johnny's body jerked, his hands clawing at the sheets. Over and over again, she stabbed him, each strike more violent than the last. Blood splattered across the silk sheets, staining the night with horror. His cries faded into choking gasps. Then silence. The woman sat still for a moment, watching the life drain from his eyes. Calm and in control, she slipped out of the bed, grabbed her clothes, and disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind the lifeless body of Johnny Boz. Detective Nick Curran was a man carrying his own demons. He had once been one of the best in the San Francisco Police Department, but his life had turned into a mess. His reckless behavior, fueled by alcohol and a tragic shooting incident, had left him with a troubled past. Now, standing in the crime scene of Johnny Boz's brutal murder, he felt something stir inside him. The room smelled of sweat, sex, and blood. The crime was savage, but it wasn't random. This was personal. Nick's sharp eyes took in every detail: the twisted body, the sheets soaked in blood, the broken glass on the floor. His instincts told him this was no ordinary case. Nick and his partner, Gus, started their investigation with the obvious suspect, Catherine Trammell. She was Johnny Boz's girlfriend, a famous crime novelist known for her sharp mind, seductive charm, and mysterious aura. Catherine lived in a stunning beach house overlooking the crashing waves. As Nick and Gus approached, she stood there, barefoot, dressed in white, her blonde hair shining in the sun. She didn't seem shocked or afraid. Instead, there was a playful smile on her lips. Nick questioned her, expecting nervousness or denial. But Catherine was different. She was calm, confident, and in control. She admitted she had been with Johnny the night before, but claimed she had left before the murder. She even mentioned that her last book had a scene just like this, an ice-pick murder during sex. It was almost as if she had written this crime into reality. Nick felt something strange stir inside him. Was it suspicion, or was it something deeper, more dangerous? As the investigation continued, Nick met Dr. Beth Garner, a police psychologist and an old lover of his. Beth warned him about Catherine. She was manipulative, dangerous, and had a history of getting close to violent crimes. But Nick, always the reckless one, was drawn to Catherine like a moth to a flame. He wanted to understand her, to break through her mystery. But maybe, deep down, he also wanted her. Catherine was called in for questioning, leading to one of the most intense interrogations Nick had ever experienced. She sat there, surrounded by officers, yet completely at ease. Dressed in a short white dress, she crossed her legs in a way that made every man in the room lose his breath. She played with them, answering their questions with amusement. She admitted she liked danger. She liked playing games. She liked men like Nick, but she denied killing Johnny Boz. And somehow, despite all the evidence pointing to her, there was no solid proof. Nick couldn't stop thinking about Catherine. She was a puzzle he needed to solve. He started following her, watching her. But the more he watched, the more he fell under her spell. Catherine knew exactly how to control men, and Nick was no exception. She invited him into her world, a world of danger, sex, and mind games. He met her friend, Roxy, a possessive woman who clearly didn't like Nick's growing interest in Catherine. He also learned about her past, about people around her dying in ways that strangely matched the plots of her books. Despite warnings from everyone, Nick couldn't stay away. One night, Catherine invited him to her house, and their tension exploded into an intense, almost violent night of passion. It was raw, wild, and dangerous, just like her. But after it was over, Nick felt something unsettling. Had he just stepped into Catherine's game? Was she leading him into a trap? Or was he simply losing control? Meanwhile, the case took another shocking turn. Roxy, Catherine's jealous lover, tried to kill Nick, but she ended up dying in a car crash instead. Catherine acted devastated. But was it real? Or was she already planning her next move? Then Nick discovered more about Catherine's past. Her college professor had been murdered in a way that mirrored another one of her books. The deeper he dug, the more it seemed like Catherine was weaving real life into her fiction. But was she the killer? Or just a master manipulator who inspired others to kill? Nick's obsession with Catherine started affecting his work. His colleagues lost trust in him. His boss warned him. Even Gus, his closest friend, begged him to be careful. But Nick was too far gone. Then another shock. His former lover, Dr. Beth Garner, was suddenly connected to Catherine's past. They had once been college friends. Beth had never mentioned this before. Was Beth hiding something? Could she be part of this deadly game, too? Nick didn't have time to figure it out. One night, Gus called him, saying he had found something important. But when Nick arrived, it was too late. Gus was dead, brutally murdered in an alley. Nick was devastated. He knew someone had set him up. The police started seeing him as a suspect. His life was falling apart. Desperate, Nick confronted Catherine. She seemed sad, almost distant. She told him she was writing a new book. A detective falls in love with the wrong woman and gets killed. Nick felt a chill run down his spine. Was she warning him? Or was she simply toying with him again? Then, in a moment of clarity, Nick suspected Beth. The evidence pointed to her. The police searched her apartment and found a hidden gun, possibly the same one used in Gus's murder. When Beth saw Nick, she panicked, pulling a gun on him. In that moment, everything collapsed. Nick fired, killing Beth. The police ruled it as self-defense. The case was closed, but something didn't feel right. Nick, exhausted and broken, went back to Catherine. She welcomed him into her arms as if nothing had happened. As they lay in bed, breathing heavily, Nick thought about everything. Was Beth really the killer? Had Catherine planned all of this? Was he just another character in her story? Then, in the dim light, something caught his eye. Beneath the bed, barely visible, lay an ice pick, cold and waiting.